This video is brought to you by today's sponsor. The only thing I put on these pouty lips is a Rethqual. Hey, it's Soul with another video, and I'm going to talk, hopefully one more time, about Legendaries. Yeah, I've talked about them a lot. A lot. Now that legendary items in World of Warcraft Legion are not going to continue as they are in Battle for Azeroth, and a catch-up mechanic, the final nail, is nearly in place, I can finally take a historical look at this embattled system. Many moons ago, I did a retrospective on the garrison system of Warlords of Draenor, and said that it was so ingrained into the expansion that reviewing it is like reviewing the expansion itself. It's not entirely the case here in my opinion, and this video is going to be full of them, but Legendaries did play a very big part in the daily life of many players, regardless of their level of play. So sit back and relax while one person gives their amateur opinion and analysis on it. From the get-go, the very premise of Legendaries was to make you feel good about getting something neat. That was a pretty big theme in Legion overall, the promise of a chance. Maybe you'll get a legendary, maybe you'll get a Titan Forge, maybe you'll get a Titan Forge and a good trade upgrade and a strong proc. Maybe Nomi won't suck. Legendaries were compared to the old epic drops of classic WoW, the Kroll Blade, the Skullflame Shield. Not only were they powerful items in their day, but they were purple. Oh my god, purple! Purple was shiny back in those days. The more purple you wore, the more right you had to dance on that mailbox, and dance you did. Today, there's more purple or epic gear than there is rare or uncommon gear, but that's just semantics. These powerful items of yore felt pretty cool. No doubt that a few of them sit in player accounts today to memorialize the occasion, and Blizzard wanted to give that feeling back to players in Legion. Remixing that into Legion, though, was the first problem with these new legendaries. They were way too good. This was intended, and Blizzard said as much. That's pretty different from that Skullflame Shield. Of course, some would argue that that particular shield was useful well past relevant content, and I'd tell you that it was pretty useful for those single pool runs of Scarlet Cathedral. But these legendaries were designed to not just be good, but that they would grow. They would evolve over the course of Legion from an item level of 910, which was overpowered at the time, to 1000, which was also overpowered at the time. This gave your favorite legendary a permanent spot in a character's arsenal depending on the situation. It also meant that every moment you didn't have that one particular piece, it was agony. Even worse, if someone that you knew happened to have that thing that you want. Blizzard intended to give players these surprising moments, but when you tell someone they're going to be surprised, it stops becoming a surprise, doesn't it? It becomes an expectation. And throughout Legion, some players had two kinds of moments. The few moments where they got that special legendary, and the many where they didn't. Legendaries weren't powerful just for their constantly high item level, though. Your favorite legendary was defined just as much with how they altered gameplay. For many, that one item was the make or break for your class, the missing piece, the difference between top parse and the bench. In other situations, legendaries felt like a gift. For example, during Warlords of Draenor, Protection Paladins could hit up to 5 targets with one of their signature abilities, Avenger Shield. In Legion, it was knocked down to 3 targets, but with the right legendary, hey, you can hit 5 targets again.
Avenger Shield.
Yes, it's that old trick. Take it away and give it back to them in a different way, and it's like brand new. That's where we come to the design of legendaries from an itemization perspective as a way to enhance your character and feel cool, versus the method of making your character feel viable or complete. Unfortunately, the pendulum swung too much in one direction. Because there are a set number of legendaries per class, and continued playtime will assure that you would eventually obtain them all, that doesn't make the system very different from something like Major Glyphs, another system that at least appears to have been replaced with legendaries during Legion. The difference though is that Major Glyphs were dependent on the player economy, while legendaries fall under the economy of chance. So this made the idea of character customization frustrating for the extremely unlucky player, or the one interested in an alt, or the newer player jumping in late in the game. Imagine if talent were unlocked the same way. Every now and then you'd unlock some talent, somewhere, eventually. About that economy of chance, it was plain to see that it was no small factor in the critique of legendaries. If all legendaries were targetable, or at least easily obtainable as they soon will be, many of the critiques in this piece wouldn't be relevant, and the entire system would simply be written off as a boring redo of the Major Glyph system. Maybe that would have been for the best. Rare drops in earlier versions of WoW felt simpler. If you got them, great. If you didn't, it sorta sucked, but it was never assumed that you'd have a number of these super rares throughout your character's lifetime, let alone a dozen of them. What I mean is that the game didn't depend on you having these things. They were a true and blue bonus and not a system of possibility equating to expectation. Legion's system of obtaining legendaries, on the other hand, was deceptively complicated. Yeah, just play the game and you'll eventually get them, they said. It was basically true, but it wasn't that simple now that we look back. Bad luck protection, ridiculous add-ons and calculations, keystone farming metas, and other strategies to game the system were a routine thought throughout the expansion, in an effort from players to have a semblance of control lest they lose their sanity. I've said this earlier and often, possibility became expectation. The legendaries of yore had a clear path on how to get them, or a reasonably clear understanding that you might not ever get that opportunity, at least not while the content was current. It's extreme to suggest that if your first two legendaries on a given character aren't any good, you should just re-roll a character because it would be faster to get your favorites. The problem there is that I can say that and it would be a kind of viable alternative. Core to an MMO are the results that are born from the investment of many hours into your character and skill. When the role of a single item jeopardizes that, there could be a bit of a problem with that design. However, for all my critique, legendary items in Legion are not the disaster that some would call it, nor are they the single component that defines an entire expansion. Nomi did that. They were in fact a collection of items that certainly broke the mold of what is normal in WoW. In one way, it's an excuse for designers to think up new and crazy ways to give classes more character and their abilities, and some of these are going to follow up in the future. They've acknowledged that designing legendaries around throughput as opposed to utility was a mistake. And the culmination of lessons learned summed up to what we'll see in the upcoming Battle for Azeroth expansion, with a system that players can visualize and plan for in the Heart of Azeroth feature and Azerite gear. And as far as we know, there will not be a follow-up system to legendaries as we know them today. Looking back, Blizzard missed the mark when it came to trying to recapture the awesome moment of getting something cool. I speak for myself when I say it's because it directly conflicts with one of the core values of the World of Warcraft itself, to give an opportunity for everyone to participate. Part of what gave those special drops a feeling of excitement was that they didn't happen for everybody. When you have a system like this that's designed for everyone though, it's no longer a moment of excitement, it's simply relief, after possibility became expectation. Please like and share this video and subscribe for more of this and all things World of Warcraft. Share your thoughts and stay breezy.